Hello and good morning. Sorry to keep you waiting. This morning we're going to be going through the entrance to this. This morning we're going to be going through the entrance to the last week's Anna Morning Challenge, which was a color studies challenge. So thanks very much to everyone who has submitted a color study. Yeah, I'm just trying to consider how you'll see what I'm doing. I guess you'll have to watch the Twitch. Okay, and you're welcome to pitch in as well if you see anything, Swifty. Hang on. Like your microphone isn't working. Why wouldn't it be working? Did you take your microphone back? Did you switch it off?
No.
You did switch it off?
No, I didn't.
Why do you keep switching it off?
Because I keep going into calls with people, and I don't want to be picked up on your computer when you're also in a call with a separate bunch of people.
Okay, that makes sense.
You see, my mic is plugged into Mike's computer. So sometimes when Mike's in a call, I switch mine off so that I'm not picked up.
Okay.
You guys can hear me now, right?
Yeah, they should be able to hear you. I don't know what they missed. It doesn't matter.
It does. Everything I said was extremely important.
Alright then.
I just said it's cool that Mike's going to be leading the critiques for the first time this week. Because I am feeling a little bit under the weather, so it suits me to be able to sit back in my blanket fort and kind of be more of a spectator this time.
Ooh.
Woo, 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 woo! Also, I was saying that I taught Siri to recognise my voice the other day, which was really fun for about 5 minutes until Mike figured out how to imitate my voice.
Oh yeah.
And now he can make Siri do stuff too.
Yeah, that's just because I tried to sound super excited and a little bit, I don't know, higher pitched and breathy.
Plus, Siri doesn't even like me. I keep giving her compliments and like trying to have conversations with her, and she keeps ignoring me. Don't worry, I'm here as an enforcer. If Mike is a bad teacher, I'll just go over there and wallop him.
No.
I'll wallop him in the head.
That's not how this works.
With a plank of wood.
No.
Oh, thanks, Devin. I will.
Do not the wallop do.
Do not the wallop do. Sounds like a great name for an album. Oh my gosh, Dangerous Sponge, I'm so sorry. That's really sad. I hope that you're alright.
Okay.
Your Alexa keeps trying to sell you thing. It's Alexa like Siri, but for shilling products instead.
Alright. So first up we have Vert MB, who looks like they've chosen the Good Dinosaur.
Heck yeah! Underrated movie. Or at least I think it is.
I think we're going to this screen. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. And let's just bring up
Ooh.
What?
What?
You said ooh.
That's because my stream just caught up with your screen, so I just got to see Bert's lovely paintings for the first time.
Oh. Okay, Bert said, I honestly felt like I needed to get my eyes tested at points. I think I struggled to push myself to be brave enough to choose really different contrasting colors. Interesting. Okay, cool. I have no idea how to do the next part.
What, the critique part?
Yeah.
You can do it, Mike. Just say what you feel, say what you see.
Say what I see. Catchphrase it.
These are beautiful, by the way, though. Like, you didn't.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at these with my eyeballs on my screen, well, on my screen, on the stream, I can not tell the difference. Like, color-wise, I think you super nailed it.
You don't want us to critique your critique. Alright, okay, let's take it one by one. Please let me critique soon.
I really like the way that you draw them.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like seeing concept art from it.
Yeah. You've retained all the personalities and the expressions. It's really cool. So just like looking back and forth between the two, one thing I'm noticing is that the hues in the top one, there's slightly warmer throughout. Like, I feel like you've set up the sky and everything. Overall, the composition is feeling really good. I think we're just missing that sort of like just warm tone highlight throughout. Like, you can especially see it in the kind of gradient here with the grass that has this kind of warm sort of yellow orangey highlights throughout the top, and you see that again like hitting the Good Dinosaur here, which you've got the start of the implication of here, but I think you just need to have a little bit more contrast. Like, you've got a dark on light relationship. Should I be making notes? Should be making notes.
Yeah, like, definitely looking at the dark versus light relationship. A really useful thing you can do to check that. Something that I do to check my values a lot. Which I have to do a lot because I'm terrible at values, so it helps me to check them. Is to look at everything in black and white once I've painted it, so I can just see the contrast.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Which I think a shortcut in Photoshop is Control Y.
Yeah, if you have your proof colors set up in Photoshop to show you the grayscale, you can flip back and forth between those. There's a couple of options as well. You can also have a layer on the very top set to color with a black overlay that you can switch off and on. I remember seeing a tweet talking about how just adding a adjustment layer, which is hue saturation, and pulling down the saturation is less accurate to the values that's on the canvas.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, just pulling out the saturation isn't an accurate representation of what you're painting.
So it's better to use the color adjustment layer with just a pure black fill on it.
Yeah, if you're not in Photoshop and don't have the color proof stuff, that's another way to do it. Yeah. Sorry, this is me getting used to critiquing like this, so bear with me.
In terms of the contrast you were talking about, I think one of the things that I'm seeing is that there are some blacks and some dark colors that feel like they're missing from the color thumb that Vert's done, such as the dark sharp contrast along the left side of the Good Dinosaur's neck.
Yeah.
And where the feet of the velociraptors meet the rocks. Like, especially with the Good Dinosaur, that's what makes them stand out most against the cloud in the background. To have this, like you were saying, the dark and light relationship there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you could push the values.
Yeah, just push the contrast a little bit more. Like maybe you're just a little bit scared to take it as dark as the actual image was. I'm glad you had a good time with it, but it looks fantastic. How did it feel to do a painting for once? Also, do you feel like you learned anything regarding the way that the film approached the colours?
I think you've got a really nice sense for the bounce light here coming up on the dinosaur from the rock. I think you were establishing that really well. Because you've got cools, warms bouncing up, and then the light hitting this way. And I think you've got that. I think you just need to push it a little bit more. I think you really hit it here on the back leg, but there's a subtle highlight on this edge that you're missing a little bit. So don't forget that you can still add the kind of lighting in the forms. But in terms of the color overall tone, I think you're really communicating that. I think there's more cool blue, what looks a little bit more cool and blue, especially here, that you're missing. It may not necessarily be blue, just cooler. Temp on that side. You've got the light, but it's just the same hue as kind of the rest of the green. So you've got it here. Just continue that through. I'm so nervous, you guys, doing this. Yeah, I don't know what's going to be. I'm just doing scribbly red lines. I don't know if it'd be better for me to actually paint the colors and whether that would be better.
What do you feel?
I don't know.
It's up to you how you want to choose to write the critique for this. Dark Hole says, "Don't be nervous." First says, "I did this first one and I spent forever on the blue sky. I was like, blue, wait, green, wait, orangey?" I was struggling to identify colours in comparison to other things. Yeah, that's the strangest thing about doing more advanced colour work, is that so much of how your colour looks depends on the context it's in. Because you'll look at an image like this and you'll be like, okay, so the clouds are kind of like this pinky orange, and you'll grab a pinky orange and then it will not look the same at all, because the actual clouds will be more of just a grey, but everything else in the sky will be so blue it'll make it look pinky orange. It's very confusing. I don't know how people do it.
Gradients can be your friend as well, where you can establish a lot of color with grade overlays.
With minimal effort.
Yeah. So if I wanted to bring more sort of warm tone throughout, I just pop this on top and just reduce down until it feels like it's matching a little bit more to the reference. The thing mostly I'm feeling when I'm looking between the two is that ever so slight warmth coming in from the right hand side.
Ooh. Face unlock.
And then you want to contrast that with more of the darker values here. The value on this rock here is a lot darker than than this one, although comparable really to this one, but it feels like it's sort of hugging the mid-tone. Like if I color pick from here, the thing about color picking from a point is you've got a lot of noise in materials, so just slapping down like a base tone it's gonna look slightly different.
That's okay, because you're not in it for the details, are you?
Yeah. Just slightly darker. There's a cool little bit of like bounce light off of here. So because of this having such a strong highlight, which you've got, that's cool. You can see it's got a little bit of bounce haze here, warming up this area here. I don't know how much zoomed in I have to be to show that. So you've got light coming in, hitting this surface, and then just bouncing onto here, which I'm not really seeing in yours yet. But I think a big part of doing these color studies is seeing the interaction of light throughout, and like as you study how light works, you can start to perceive it occurring, because in your scene light's really important, and you can kind of follow the light path through. So you've got like direct light sources, indirect light sources, and the indirect light sources are when the light comes in and bounces around on the 3D forms, but you also have it changing the atmosphere as well. So things in the distance will be changed by the distance they are from the viewer by the light interacting in the scene. Use my glow brush, and just you can add in a soft pop there. And then you can erase away, pull your highlight back. I think compositionally, you got the verticals for the Good Dinosaur really good, but these dinosaurs you've scaled up a little bit. So this guy, his head is in the same place, but his body starts to go off. So you miss a little bit of like this, which is alright. I think you just like comparing the two, flicking back up and forth. He's a lot more squat. But that's fine, that's fine. I just think you're missing some of this dark on the right hand side. Yeah, let's see. Moving on, I think the main thing I see between these two is there's a little bit more blue throughout this one. Mostly it's from like the glowing fireflies, I think they are. But if you look around the haze of each of the fireflies, there's a little bit of blue in there, which I think you're missing through yours. They're kind of like a bright thing based on the color itself, whereas these are a little bit they're fairly cool in temperature, and you're getting a little bit of weird haloing around here where it's like light and then dark around. But aside from that, like, this is fairly spot on. I think you want to have the indication of that blue light coming down on the top of the father dinosaur character.
On his face.
Yeah.
Look at these cute little dinos.
This is too much. Sometimes I like know what I'm going for and I'll put something really strong and I'll just pull it back until it feels feels closer.
Is that the thing where it's kind of easier to overshoot than pull back than it is to slowly work your way up to something?
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Overshoot and then work back.
I don't know if you've already said this, but some of that blue feels like it's missing a little bit from the background.
Yeah, that was the first thing I picked out.
Cool. Hey, Capricara. Hello.
Yeah.
That's super interesting, but it says that I didn't notice how complicated this shot was when I picked it. And then I started painting and was like, oh, this has a lot of colours. It looks simple. But that's the trick. That's how they get you. It's beautiful though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really nice shot.
I think it was pretty bold of them to be like, so our dinosaurs are greeny blue. In this scene, let's have them in this greeny blue background with these greeny blue fireflies and still have them stand out.
Sorry, I'm just looking for the right brush. There we go. I think compositionally as well, on the anatomy of the dad dinosaur, you've flattened out the back end of his legs here a little bit. But that's just a side note. Like, yeah, his butt is a lot more pulled in.
That's not a colour thing.
No, it's not. Goddamn. And his neck is a lot more curved. But in terms of the highlights and stuff, I'm really feeling the cylindrical roundness with, you've got the, I think this is called the core shadow, and then it's going to rimlet and...
The core shadow being the kind of more flat black shadow there along the neck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which you've got here.
Next, this is colour studies. And yeah, Capricara, we're having a feedback session for the Anna Morning Challenge. So every Monday we set a challenge, and then the following Monday we look at everyone's work on stream, and we see if we can do any critiques to help out.
Yeah. I think you'll have a lot of critiques on mine, whether it's on model or not.
Don't worry, that's not the main thing we're critiquing. Like, whether it's on model or not, it's not a huge concern. It's more just the colours.
In terms of like painting stuff fast, there's a cool thing you can do where if you take a lasso and a soft brush, so for instance, if I took the tail and I was like, okay, the shape of the tail is like this, and I get my soft brush, you can just paint along the edge of it, and you can get that sort of soft rendering style that you can see in the Good Dinosaur without having to like painstakingly paint it. Et voila. It can probably help you speed up on doing various aspects of a color study. Like, because I took up being a comics colorist, I started working with lassos a lot more, and I also noticed that I think it's Andrew Jones, Anthony Jones, an A Jones person, did a tutorial where he did that, and it was like, oh, it makes a lot of sense. Rather than trying to, or alternatively, you could do a soft and have a hard eraser and get that sort of feel quickly.
Ooh.
that might be more to your taste. But if you're working with more complicated shapes, it can help. Alright. And the last one. Yeah, that's cool.
Aww.
Well,
Just a really distressed face on the dinosaur.
Really like the way you're doing, like catching the highlights on the nostrils. Here, this feels really cool, well-rounded. Like, if you, his skin texture kind of reminds me of an apple. I think you're missing the kind of warm around here. You've got it a little bit, but I think you can push it a lot more.
Yeah, the blush on the neck and the nozzle.
Yeah, so you got the. Yeah, so you got the bluish.
Just some of that pink missing from the eyes and the teeth as well.
Yeah. So one thing to note, in terms of like color temperature of an overall scene, is that it'll alter the white value in your scene. So I think you're pushing it a little bit too white, where you have more of that orange pinky light here. So again, you see it in the teeth. India hates it when I make teeth and eyes not white.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see that if you push it, it starts to become and look unnatural. Like if I were to like paint over this being really white, it starts to make it look way more cartoony.
Ben, you're totally right. Pears. That's it. Pears.
What?
I get you, but to push back on that for a second, Mike does this thing where he tends to make everybody's eyes and teeth in the scene different colours. So one character will have like pink eyes and teeth, and one character will have green eyes and teeth, and one character have blue eyes and teeth, and I'll be like, Mike, they look like they have like rotten teeth.
Alright.
Because it's not tied in with the lighting, you've just given them all a bunch of different colours. Different colour eyes and teeth sounds like stylization. It does. It'd work really well, I think, in something like Doug.
Yeah. I think you're doing really well here, getting the kind of blue sense. It's a little bit missing from the left-hand side of the mountains, but that's forgivable.
A Capricara says, I know I'm pushing my luck as a newbie, but can I send you a thing for feedback this time at the end of the stream?
No.
You're working on a fake screenshot illustration and you're really struggling. I mean, if there's time, that'd be awesome.
I just like being sassy. If there's time, maybe.
If you want to link it in now, Capricara, then I'll open it up, and then I'll remember to bring it back at the end.
Let's see. I think there's.
Thank you, pal, bro.
Say yes. Make him say yes.
Is that an alarm that's going off?
Okay. There's a lot more darker values in this corner that you're sort of missing. But that's okay.
Is it, Michael? Is it really? One thing I think is interesting is that Vert has picked out the left-hand side of the Good Dinosaur with this this kind of bluish highlight.
Yeah.
But the actual screenshot, that's really not that strong.
It's not as wide or as intense. It is there, but yeah, I think you could pull it back a little bit more.
It's interesting how much the dinosaur in the top one does kind of blend into the environment almost, and how they stop them from getting lost.
There's a little bit more of like the snow stuff down here. Like I think there's a lot more color and stuff going in here than you first see. because you've got light hitting from here, and then you've got a secondary blue here. My handwriting is terrible.
Thank you, Capicera. I got it.
Yeah, so, okay, in an order of operations when you're doing a color study, first thing you want to think about is what are my light sources? Because they'll determine like a lot of what's going on. I should just write this with text. And whether they're like, and what type of light. Which I think Vert has done. Here he's like recognized that there's the blue light source and the warm light source. But you need to follow that through in the environment as well. One thing I've noticed with rocks as well is that like you tend to have like very interestingly defined shapes. So like, sorry, you tend to get like 2 to 3 main tones on a rock. You got like the top value, which is this bright, and then you've got the side values, which is this other dark, which I think helps pick them. If you just simplify your rocks down to that, you can kind of describe them fairly quickly.
Oh, that's interesting, Pablo. I just want to ping out what Pablo's saying too.
Cool.
He says, and this is unrelated to what you were just talking about, my 2 cents for eye colour. I've had to colour many irises recently. They're an inward cone. They cast a shadow at the top since the top part hides from the light. That's super interesting because I have been drawing eyes with a shadow on top for a long time because that's how I've seen anime do it. But I've never truly understood what that was a shorthand for.
Oh, yeah.
Or why the shadow was always at the top.
Your
So that's really handy to know.
Cast shadow here.
Well, the bottom part catches light directly, so it's brighter. That makes sense. So if you were like perhaps being underlit, would the shadow maybe be at the bottom instead?
Yeah.
Interesting. I have been drawing it that way, but never understood what the real world translation of that shorthand was. So that's super cool. Thanks for that, Pablo. I think one thing that could be done is I'd be tempted to just get a levels pass on it and just pull the black up a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And cross everything just for that contrast. But
I think that's a good point.
you want to try doing the black and white thing and seeing how that sits so people can see like how it makes things a bit easier.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm getting self-conscious.
Don't be self-conscious,
I'm
Mike.
trying not to be.
I'm sorry, I know it doesn't help to just be like, don't be though. How about you not nervous though?
Yeah. So we were saying in the original one that the left side of the dinosaur was darker. You can kind of see it here.
Yeah, it makes it just a little easier to pick out just purely the values.
And you can also see that there's a lot less contrast in this distant cloud than what you were picking out, Bert. Like, the difference between these two values is a lot smaller than the difference between these two values. But overall, like, they're really close.
So close. One of the reasons it's really hard to critique this one is because you did such a good job with it.
Yeah.
That everything that we're picking out is kind of a nitpick. I hope you had fun doing it, and I hope you learned a lot doing it, because you did an awesome job.
Yeah.
Imagine doing an animation and applying this kind of colour to it.
So there's a little bit more highlights here. The sky overall is a darker tone.
Yeah, a bit more of a gradient going on there, right?
Yeah, especially towards the top.
Turns out you can paint Vert. Who
Mm.
knew?
Yeah, I had seen any paintings from Vert before, I don't think.
Does anyone do fully lineless painterly animations? While it would take a ridiculously long time, I think it looks so cool. It would look awesome.
You can animate with line and then remove the line later. I think the one that was recently released that David and oh god, I can't remember the name. But I think they worked.
Is it Irene?
I'm not sure. It was like Irzumi maybe.
Oh. Okay.
I'd have to get back to you on the specific name, but they worked in line first and then removed it later and had fully lineless like color. I think there was lines in the face.
It wasn't painterly though, was it?
It was not painterly, no.
It was lineless, so it did look super cool. I haven't tried anything more painterly, apart from maybe that Quack. Quack was lineless and painterly.
That's true, yeah.
That was fun to do. That was in Photoshop. I did that. But that was a very simple character. I think one of the reasons that was fast and easy and fun to do was that it was basically just a cube with a duck on it.
Shall we move on to the next?
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Anna Marie.
I think one of the things you have to make peace with if you're going to do a lineless animation is the fact that you have to draw the lines and then hide all your work. Anne Marie coming in with the Robin Hood.
Yeah, this is really, really well done.
Life is brief, but when it's gone, love goes on and on. Beautiful. Beautiful scene. Nice painting.
I think your foregrounds, that you, like in our last comment, I think you can push the darks darker. Like this foreground tree is a lot darker than this mid-tone. This kind of feels like it's the tone for one of like the the light side here. But I think you've got all these shadows that could be picked out, particularly like in the upper third. They're a little bit more darker on the trees here.
Yeah.
And similarly, there's a little bit less contrast on your light beams.
I think one of the big things that I'm seeing is whenever you're looking at an animation background, you have to consider the fact that the background is done to stage the characters. So you can see in the original one at the bottom, the background copse of trees in the very back is quite light and blends into the background, so that Robin and Marion really stand out against it. Yeah. Whereas in the top one that you've painted, the background little hillock with the copse of tree on it is so dark that it actually is blending into and interfering with the reed on Robin's silhouette.
Yeah.
So you want to think about how the background has been created to stage the characters and really kind of frame them and make them pop against it. So I'd say definitely that background bit there. Yeah, I'd bring that much closer to the sky, so that it's really framing Robin and Maid Marian.
This is just a blue over the top.
Yeah, soon it will be. There you go. Once it seemed like it was yesterday. You were just a child at play. Song is in my head now.
Wait, is that what happens during this?
Yeah, that's the song which plays during this sequence.
I'm color picking. I'm cheating. But
yeah, getting me the lines, basically killing your babies. Exactly, like it's It's easy enough for someone like Mike, who often handles the compositing or the background illustrations. But for me, the animator, where like the lines are the thing that I've been working up to since the rough stage, it's like, okay, goodbye. Goodbye, hours and hours of work. Especially because cleanup takes me the longest. But I do have to say, lineless animation looks dope when it's done. There's a point in every project we do, whether it's Starlight or Mystic, where Mike and I turn off the lines and just look at it for a few minutes and we're like, one day. Because it looks so cool.
Yeah, I think mostly there's too much contrast in your background elements and not enough contrast in your foreground elements. Where's my brush?
Brush, brush, brush.
Brush, brush, brush. There we go.
Chuck, chuck, chuck. It's colour picking cheating. I probably did that 50% of the time. Shame, shame, says Ola.
I think you asked about that, and I said that it's worth color picking to compare the choice you've already made to see how far off you are. So if you're just color picking from the source, then you won't be learning as much.
So you're saying that you can colour pick, but
yeah.
if you do, then you're probably not going to learn as much as you would do if you were trying to do it by eye.
Yeah.
That was a sentence that I said, but you know what I mean.
There's a little bit more blue in these shadows than I've got, so what I'll do is copy paste them on a new and just reduce the black down.
Ola says, yeah, I did do that, but in the very end I was tired, so I colour picked. Kimmy says, colour pick responsibly.
Like, color picking's fine, but if you're doing a study, like, would you copy and paste like the photograph onto your anatomy?
You're getting a little bit of buffering, just to warn you.
Oh.
If you wanted to check anything on your end, Mike. And Your Majesty a Cloud. Yes, fair enough. You picked your own colours to set
shit,
yourself.
Yeah, we're dead.
Oh no. Ken, you still here? Is out there? Oh my gosh. Oh no! How I fix?
I don't know.
Try refreshing. That just worked for me. So I was gonna say, Your Majesty a Cloud! Yes. Your Majesty a Cloud said, I picked my own colours to test myself, but colour picked for the final thing. I didn't render all the different tones. I think that's fair enough because you got the main colour blocks in there.
Yeah.
I think the only place it probably matters is just in terms of this foreground tree being darker and having darker overall tones.
So wait, what did they say?
I think that in terms of the blocking you picked, I think the level of detail is pretty good.
Yeah. I would say this foreground tree is slightly larger. I would have brought that in to the composition a little bit more.
Oh, there's a delay on the stream. I wonder if there's anything that we can do to fix that. Like, there's no way we can like very quickly press stop and start stream again or something, right? So it catches up.
No, we are back to green though, so it should if people refresh, it should be better.
Okay, refresh everybody. I'm gonna put in chat since everyone's behind.
Let's see, I forgot to read what it said. I tried so Anna Marie says, I tried comparing the original colours to the ones I chose, and I noticed I tend to pick colours less saturated than the actual original colour. I also tried to use the lasso tool to fill in shapes colours because I have a tendency to get too lost in making it completely accurate otherwise. I think that's a good choice.
Yeah.
I think I struggled with letting myself slow down and enjoy the process, but at the same time, I want to learn how to do these more efficiently. And also, thanks, good job. Congratulations. Okay.
That's interesting that you tended to pick colours that were less saturated than the final screenshot.
Oh, no,
because I have the opposite problem.
I think she said more saturated.
Oh yeah, that's the problem I have, is that I tend to colour pick way more saturated
No,
than the
I tend
actual.
to pick colours less saturated than the actual original. Sorry, you're right. I'm being a doofus. But
You doofus.
so do you both
It's
pick
interesting.
colours less saturated, or do you pick more saturated?
No, I was saying it's interesting because I tend to pick colours more saturated by accident.
Gotcha.
Whereas Your Highness a Cloud tends to pick colours less saturated, which is interesting to me because I have the opposite problem. I can see a little bit in the fireflies. Or I feel like maybe the fireflies down below are a little bit more saturated.
Yes. Particularly closer to the white, I think you get a little bit more. I think because it's just two tones, you're not getting that intensity. I think just adding a soft.
We're all older and wiser now than we were when the stream was buffering. We've learned so much in the interim. We're almost different people. I can't wait to go and lie down.
What?
My mood the past 2 days.
Yeah, me too.
I just want to spend a second complaining about my body.
Go for it.
Okay. Finished a really big project on Friday. It was really sad to finish it. But was like, okay, well I can take, I'm gonna have a break now, catch up on some stuff that I've missed, have a really nice time, have a relaxing weekend. The weekend, I spent the entire weekend sleeping because I found it impossible to get to sleep at night because of insomnia. And then Monday, Tuesday, my body is like, well, you finished a big project, so here comes the artist illness, hitting you like a 10-ton truck. You remember all those nights you had? You thought you'd go away with them, eh? Well, maybe not. Aha, I was just waiting in the wings. Now take this. And it beats me down, and I'm ill, and I lie down, and I feel bad, and I'm like, no, but I wanted to do some stuff. And then Wednesday, I'm like, oh no, it's good. I'm back on my feet now. I feel way better. Wednesday, Thursday comes, Friday comes, it's all good. I'm like, awesome. This is fantastic. This is great. The weekend hits. Bam! It's the woman time. You thought you could relax. You were just getting into it. You were just feeling like yourself again. But no! I am here. Every month, like clockwork. Wherever it's least convenient for you, I shall strike. And I'm like, but no, my weekend though. I spent Wednesday and Thursday and Friday working to catch up on the work that I missed out on Monday and Tuesday because I was ill. So I had to work extra fast those days and was slightly more stressed than I would have been because I couldn't work on Monday and Tuesday. And then the weekend was meant to be my proper relax time. And the woman time came. But this is why it's awesome to have a partner like Mike. He's like, I'll take the critiques. Don't you worry.
I didn't say that.
You relax, my darling.
I didn't say
I will
that
fetch you coffee and sweet treats after the stream. I will massage your aching shoulders. I will feed you grapes from the vine.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do these things. I'm just saying I didn't say to you that I would do these things.
Wrap you in blankets like a burrito. I will roll you down the stairs to bed. Is this just to get him to buy Mike things at the shops? Oh, no. I bought him a burrito last week, guys. You'll be proud of me.
I forgot to tweet about that.
Surprise! Burrito happened.
Yeah.
Oh, Kimmy, yours is supposed to be today. Oh, my thoughts and prayers are with you. Look after yourself. Get everything prepared. Don't make the same mistake I did. Get yourself them painkillers and tea bags and everything all lined up. So when it happens, you can just be like, bam, painkillers. Bam, drink. Bam, into the duvet. Bam, whatever on Netflix that you have that you want to catch up on. Bam, hot water bottle.
Imagine I talked this much through India's critique. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
You'd hate me. You'd be like, Michael, I'm trying to make my point. And I'm sitting here just like, I'm not going to say anything.
No, you're 100% right.
And then you went on to another topic and I'm like, God damn, I've made notes.
I'm sorry. It's 100% my fault. And I'm very sorry to Your Highness a Cloud as well for hijacking your feedback session. Thank you for letting me rant. I'm done.
Cool. You stupid lady body.
I know.
One thing that I think is important in this scene here is the placement of the moon here and the highlights. I think you've missed those, and they're kind of like integral to the feel. Like a lot of these highlights get to like show you the form of these 2D planes, because more often than not in the cell animated thing they'll have drawn these if the camera is going to move, they'll have drawn these on a different cell. And I noticed here that you had like a bit of the island, whereas this tree really comes down and meets there, creating this kind of nice frame. So just be aware of if I remove all of my I think you were like, oh, it's on an island and then there's a tree, but really that tree comes all the way down here, almost all the way down to the flat of here. And yeah, I think a lot of my critique of this would be in the far plane here. There's a lot less. If you think about having grouped distances from your camera, you can have the kind of three main ones, which are foreground, midground, and background. At each point in your distance level, there's going to be less contrast. So you want to group and view those in your composition as distinct. So in here, I would say that beyond this tree is your background. So all of the values here are going to be less contrast. So picking out this tree here is it does have a slightly darker value, but it has that gradient and to help soften it out, to help the contrast between here and here be greater. So the contrast between different planes is greater, but the contrast within planes is grouped and closer, and it can really help kind of view a composition not as lots of hundreds of different parts, but like background, and then your trees here, your figures, all of this is midground, and then you've got your foreground.
It helps so much, like especially during boarding. Actually, it really helps me to try and think in terms of midground, foreground, background, and like whether my shot has all those elements, because I tend to stage things flatter than I'd like, with not as much depth as I want to have in my boards. And reminding myself to like look at my image and be like, do you have everything midground? Like, does your background feel far enough away? Do you have a foreground element to really show that depth? Is really helpful.
Yeah. And I think scales wise, compositionally, your characters and your tree and everything, there's a lot less space around this tree, and this tree is a lot closer. So I think when you're doing more of these, you could bring yours down and overlay it just to see how your perception of the composition is a little bit off. Like your tree here is a little bit further to the right. It's almost like you've kind of zoomed in to this and pushed all the foreground slightly back. But in the kind of more 4:3 aspect ratio, there wasn't too much space for these guys. And I think that's important to the composition because they're having like a nice, quiet, intimate moment. They're kind of cradled in this forest environment rather than sort of like out in the open. Like there's a feeling of safety, and I think you lose that a little bit when you open out this sky and make the tree a little bit smaller. Like the distance between this tree and this is very, very, very minimal. And the difference between the distance of the moon as well. Like the moon is very much nestled amongst these tree branches. So that's all I got to say.
That's all I got to say.
Sorry, I wasn't making fun of you. I just liked the turn of phrase that you used.
Thanks. Next up we have...
Lovely job, Majesty. Lovely job, Your Majesty. And lovely scene to choose as well. I'm a big fan of Robin Hood.
Devin. Ooh, last unicorn. Devin says, definitely learned more about the composition and color. The struggle was keeping my composition and spacing the same as the actual screenshot, especially the yellow one, since there's so much detail going on in the background.
Oh, look at the detail that you've put into these characters. They're almost like frames from an animation themselves.
Oh yeah.
Unicorn!
Okay, let's take these one at a time.
Great work, Your Majesty. Devin, this looks gorgeous. Wow, what a thing to choose as well. The last unicorn is great because look at the contrast in the colour schemes here.
I think if we take a step back and look at the first one, I think when you're perceiving things to be white in here, like the flowers, these, you kind of given yourself like the decision that these are white, whereas in the context of here, those flowers are sort of like off yellow, like more mid-tone thing, and they're pushed back. I think these are supposed to be slightly further back in the midground rather than
I see,
foreground elements. So that I'm noticing that particularly in this corner here. I'm sorry, it might be really small on stream. It helps me to like see things as an overall. Wonder if there is a... No, it won't give me what I want. So that first up, I think color wise, like the hues are really, really close. So
Haggard unicorn.
oh, Devin's in the chat. Yeah, I think interestingly, whereas others we've just seen have kind of been slightly more afraid to push into light and darks, I think Devin, your lights and darks are a little too contrasty here. And I think an important design element for this bush is that it has that bottom edge here, which I think you've not pushed enough. But aside from that, this is like... Good job.
Good job.
I think overall there's a slightly more yellowish tone. So boop, 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 boop.
I mean, you could start a palette, Mike, where you color drop from the top image and color drop from the bottom and put them next to each other.
I could.
So you can really see.
So let's pick kind of a defining color here and got other pull that back. I think it just needs a little bit like softening up and then coming back in with a bit more of the details like here. So what you were saying, make a palette of comparing these two?
I was just saying that you could start a new document that you have hovering over the top, and you could color pick from the top and bottom to compare the colors directly next to one another on your palette.
What floating document?
You could do a new document in Photoshop that you have floating over the top, and you could color pick and scribble them down into the new document next to one another, so you can see a direct comparison between the actual screenshot and what people have chosen.
Right, gotcha. Okay.
If you wanted to. Like,
I don't really, but
Well
it's because
then.
I'm feeling lazy.
well, don't worry about it. If it's not going to help, then it's not going to help. So it's totally fair. I am not the expert here.
I think palettes are interesting because, oh my gosh, what have we got? Oh, is that Ola's? Okay. I don't know why it's defaulted to that.
Caricature is amazing.
Anyway.
Sorry to spoil the surprise.
So, yeah, if we...
Ola. That's so fun. I was not expecting that.
Top flower. I think a lot of color, for the perception of color, comes from the context. So it is interesting to take these colors out of context.
It just makes it like very obvious what the difference is.
Like, look at, yeah, I think this is accurate, but look at how white this flower appears, and that's the color it is. The top one is color picked from the reference. The bottom one is color picked from Devon's, but because we don't have this contrast around it, and we have that glaring white, just how much whiter it feels. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, like the dark of here.
I'm really impressed with how much your values in the background there match, Devon.
Holy shit. Is this? Wow. How like how much? Okay, is this actually? It must be. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, have I got CMYK and RGB and it's looking way different? Yeah, shit like this surprises me of like, these are really close, but they feel so far away when you look at this one and this one. I don't know if you're seeing that as well as I am. Like the dark shadow here. Why you feel so dark? I mean, you don't feel as dark here. That crazy.
The more you learn. I think it's probably most obvious with the flowers at the bottom center.
Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting.
Crowmail. This one is from Drift Larson. Drift Larson says, last time I requested for Swift to give up the crow noises since I know it's a totally and legitimately 100% homogenized and pasteurized grass-fed Swift. So now I will demand again, give up the cause!
Wow.
Thank you, Stamps. Never. I will never give up the cause. The beautiful cause online. Right alone.
And yeah, I think like if I color pick like you suggested, the local color of this green here feels a little bit more blue than, wait, that's the wrong way. This way.
Drift, your endeavor is a lost cause. Palver, that's very good. That's very good. Hey, Glitch. Good evening? Is it super late night for you?
So this stands out a little bit to me.
What you doing awake?
But yeah, I'm going to move on to the next. Oh, and another one that jumps out is I think that this tree is a lot less It's kind of like more desaturated and less of a brown.
Well, Glitch, I hope you're doing
so
well.
Close. Color temperature, man. Color temperature.
Yeah, look at that. So close, Devon. Wow. Wow.
Okay. This is why
Mario.
this is why color picking
If I
and
am.
comparing, contrasting, you're like, what is going on here that allows this to be perceived like this? Like maybe it's because I picked from the shadow from one side and the highlight from another. Yeah, like this is the highlight color. And this is the shadow color. So, yeah. I think the second one is really, really beautifully done.
So close.
I think you want to have a little bit more, slightly brighter leaves here and slightly more blue. I think there's slightly too green, but overall,
That's matching so closely.
beautiful.
What do you feel like you learned from this, Devon? Drift is spouting off in some English right now. Good old mate, chip off the old block, you.
I think there's a little bit more warmth in the unicorn's face here than you've got. I think you have room. I think you've got it under the chin here, but I think you can pull that into the face and maybe it's slightly more pinky peachy. Whereas I think there's a little bit there's a little bit too much desaturation just happening in the face here, just like jumping at back and forth between the two.
Yeah.
Beautiful capturing of the red here.
Again, I think the main thing that I would call out about this one is that in the original, there's a contrast between the background unicorn and the foreground girl.
Yes.
That's getting somewhat lost, I think, because the background unicorn feels paler in the recreation, which means that the character is blending into the background much more.
Yeah, you have more contrast, particularly here.
Thank you to everybody who is here despite it being super duper late for them. It's really sweet of you and we really appreciate it. You guys are so supportive and cool and nice.
I'm literally just color picking, but
I mean, that's okay, I think, for the critique, because that's kind of the point at which we're like really checking how close everything is.
I think you could go like definitely darker here and pull out, because something about this imagery is very graphic. I think you're missing a little bit of that in your own piece. I think you've got it here, and I think this, I almost feel like this element is being pulled across over to here. And then you've got this nice highlight on the right hand side of your horse, where you've kind of made it more graphic with the dark, which I think is going against you a little bit. Like there's not really a dark highlight here, but there is. I think something that occurs in old screenshots of stuff is you get a little bit of color bleed. So if we come right in here, some of the texture artifacting, there is almost like a dark blue. And I'm not sure if that would have been accurate to how they painted it.
Yeah, or whether that's
or whether that's just like fuzzy edges of screen. But if you are gonna go with it, if you are gonna like try and replicate it to get the kind of style and feel, there is that slightly darker haloing, but it's not on the horse. I think that's just a thing of like you drew it with a dark outline, but Yeah.
Devin says she was learning about composition when she was doing this, and she says, like the third one I liked because it split right in half in a moment where she's feeling split between her old and new self. Just think that's super cool in terms of composition. Like you can see even the background
Yeah.
is like very clearly split between two worlds. Like the leaves are different in each, the sky color is different in each.
Yeah.
Super cool.
I think it's a really good choice. I'm guessing the unicorn itself is a motif of the castle she's in.
Yeah, I bet they were made with stamps as well, Devin. It definitely feels that way, doesn't it?
Leaves, yeah. Yeah, that could be the case. I think the last unicorn was like was it a Korean or a Japanese production?
I'm not sure.
I think your leg down here again, a little too bright.
I'd probably just I'd magic wand that whole unicorn and then use the levels to just shift the base tone a bit darker. That'd be my solution.
How could you?
How could you?
Mike is straight up lassoing like a madman.
How do you mean? What would you have done? Magic wanded?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
Because the colour is this.
yeah.
Would you say it's cheating to paint something from a colour study and then to saturate it?
I think be aware that you need to do that. Like, so doing a color study is sort of a journey from your first assumptions to your last realizations. So if you get to the what?
Somebody like put that on a yearbook or something. I don't know.
So if you need to make a leap as far as like hue shifting the whole canvas, then you might realize that you perceive in a slightly different color temperature and you have to like shift it over. You like retain that for the next time you do it, going like, am I picking slightly too am I picking slightly too cool? Am I picking overly warm? Yeah, so you can like, I think whenever people work on paintings that are like more invented, they get to the point at the end where they do all that balancing anyway. So you might have a way that you paint comfortably, and then you're like, oh, I want to shift it up. So yeah, you could just know that that's a step in the process.
Yeah, like I'm not 100% sure how you handle your colour studies, but I know that when you're working on backgrounds, the hue saturation is like a tool that you use all the time when doing backgrounds.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To kind of like, what Mike does is a lot of feeling it out rather than painting straight what he has in his head.
When I was working with Marius, he gave me a piece of advice, which is like, try and find the unexpected. And that can include the unexpected to yourself. So if you painted something or done something, bye Swifty. I get it. I'll keep talking. Then you can surprise yourself with a hue shift like that. Okay, I'm gonna call this one here. I'm gonna have a look at Ola's since we jumped to it. Oh, this caricature. Oh my gosh. I like that you've kind of had him, like, it feels like he's looking off camera here, but you've just made him straight up look at us. Be like, yeah, this is my face. I particularly like here because if you look at the color kind of temperature throughout. You have this warm light casting here, and then in the shadow you have the lack of that warm light, so you have this contrasting cool. And it's not necessarily blue, but it feels way cooler. Like, yeah, it's a desaturated green, but because you have this context of a really warm element, like part of the composition, this cool, you really feel this coolness in the grays. You changed the eye direction on purpose. Yeah, I figured. I think you're missing this really cool, really warm yellow highlight here, Ola, which is kind of making your character like pop back a little bit. Like if we had, because this is the element in the in this one that you're seeing this warm light interact with the character.
Oh, we got to Ola's.
Yeah.
Super cool. Oh my gosh. That's so good.
I'm just guessing this, but
Gym of the gym, you're not super late. You know, we only started like an hour and a half ago.
I think you could probably do with
Yeah, Vert says, I love that Ola found a way to insert comedy and his own sensibilities into a colour study.
Of course he did.
I feel like that's kind of how it's been with all of them, though, to be honest. Like, I look at Vert's and they're very Vert, and I look at Devon's and it's very Devon's, you know? And
Yeah.
Your Majesty is very Your Majesty. Like, you all approached it differently.
I think color studies are a really good way to like express yourself. Where are your priorities? What have you focused on? What do you think is important in what you're seeing? How have you like simplified things?
One of the things I really like about this piece, and it's not about the colours, so I apologise. I just really like the contrast between the hard and soft shadows.
Yeah. I think they're slightly softer than Ola's painted them, but not by much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What film is this from? Is it like Once Upon a Time in America? I've not seen this one, but I think that's... Declan, our flatmate, was behind me when I was looking at this yesterday, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and he was like, oh, it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's the one he said.
He knew.
Yeah. So I really love instances where you have something like this, where you're like, that's kind of like a that's like a sort of desaturated blue, or this feels more blue than it really is. I don't have my other document open anymore. Maybe if I just do it on the black. It's not going to do the same, is it? Yeah, you sort of feel it. Like, it's the whole white, gold, blue, black dress thing. Like, if I paint that color here, you're like, whoa, it's green. Then you look it up here and you're like, whoa, it's blue. Whoa, it's green. I just love colors when they fucking do that.
I love colours when they fuck around.
Yeah.
Jim says it's okay to get a quick squiz at any that you've already looked at, which I assume means do you mind flicking through them?
Sorry, you can look at the VOD. I mean, I can look at it, but I'm not gonna...
I can't control him, guys.
Like, a lot of the stuff was just painted over as a notes. So we had Good Dinosaur from Vert. We have the Robin Hood from Anna Marie, and the Last Unicorn from Devon. I don't have too much more to say for all those, to be honest.
I like the way people always think that we're super wholesome until we start swearing all over the place. And then they're like, my ears! No! I don't know why people think we're wholesome.
I don't know either.
Let me see if I can see anything with my eyeballs.
Mostly I'm just seeing compositional stuff.
The colours look very close. Do you want to do a black and white pass over the top to see if there's anything that we're not seeing?
In the values.
Yeah. Like you said, I can see a couple of things, but it's all compositional. In terms of the actual colour.
It's pretty close. Although Ola said he got tired and started colour picking, so.
Still.
Boo.
Hey, no, you can't do that. A colour study is a colour study nonetheless. Even if you colour pick, you're still learning stuff.
Yeah. I think interestingly,
I can see some stuff now.
Yeah, there's some stuff in terms of like this white highlight on the character here is a lot stronger than I think Ola originally had. He's got a little bit here, but I think this is kind of an important graphic element.
I think
maybe it's because he turned the character to look at us more and he's like, you wouldn't, or no, because you would see it more if it turned more.
I think even then the lighting that is reflecting onto the arm is still stronger.
Yeah.
I think also the shadow of the window on the left of the mid bar of it has more contrast. So it's darker, as is the shadow on the inside of the door frame. Like there's just a bit more contrast, I think, in the original.
Yeah.
It would be another case where I would, if it were me, just drag those values a little bit.
So would you do a thing where you create a correction layer?
Yeah, or I might just use levels on the actual layer itself because I'm filthy like that.
So,
but the intelligent thing to do would be to use a level adjustment.
So it's an adjustment layer in Photoshop, but it's a correction layer here, and I think you were talking about a level?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just drag the bottom left bar, which represents the darks in the composition. I just drag that up a little bit, which will make the darks a little bit more intense.
Oh.
Ola says, mind you, I don't have Photoshop. I painted in TV Paint, which I'm basically limited just to brush with opacity.
Oh my god, you painted this in TV Paint. Fair enough. I mean, it is called TV Paint.
But you weren't painting a TV! It's a misuse of software.
I think I would probably limit that to more of the stuff on the left-hand side, because I think that darkens the doorway too much.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about having an adjustment layer is you can use that mask with a soft brush to just... Mono Noni says, give me your tensions. Here you are, have them. I don't want them. You can have them. Put them in your pockets. I was like, just, no. See you, Glitch. You have a good sleep when you do.
Yeah, layer adjustments are pretty cool. So you see here, I've got like this layer mask on there. It's sort of...
If Toon Boom is not used to explode cartoons, is it also misuse of the software? Yes, it is.
Wait, I'm being an idiot.
And if you don't use Photoshop to open a store in which you sell photographs, then that is a misuse of software as well.
I'm being an idiot. I need the other way. No, let me do the thing.
It's all going wrong.
It's weirdly not letting me edit the
Michael Doig, a fraud exposed.
Alright, shut up. Oh, it's because I had the layer switched off. Wait, why is that being such a...
Ola says I added a hacking virus into the image. That's why this is happening. You got us!
It's being weird. I don't know how to fix it. I don't care enough to fix it.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to edit the layer mask, but it's like whenever I do this,
Have you clicked on the layer mask?
yeah, then it's altering the top with white, even though I have black selected. So
Ola, your
it
image
must
is
work.
cursed.
It must work on a not a opacity thing. It must be working on like, I bet you if I try this, no,
Wait.
it didn't do anything. Oh, I don't get it. I don't get it, you guys. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Wow. Mike doesn't even know how to use the software. And he's trying to teach us.
There we go. I can erase it out. Whatever. Stupid, weird layer mask shit. Anyway, I think we should move on.
Okay. Amazing job,
do.
Ola.
Yeah.
How long did this take you? Because there's so much detail in it.
I like the offset between what you're talking about Ola's. Okay, let's see. This is Evan clicking. Well, first off, good job picking Mandalorian.
Yeah!
So,
Ooh.
I'm learning Storyboard Pro and chose to focus on perspective and composition for this study. I didn't directly reference the still, so finding the hues was challenging. Wait, what?
So, are you trying to replicate the hues, which are the colours, or the composition?
The values in the original shot are also great, but given my emphasis on setting up the shot properly, I chose to ignore them.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm a little confused.
What, between whether it's colours or composition you're looking at?
Well, if you're doing a composition study, but you didn't directly reference the still, I'm trying to...
Yeah, were you doing it from memory? Either way, I think the
Yeah.
best thing for us to do is to maybe critique the composition in terms of how it compares to the original.
Yeah. Do you want to take this?
I can give you some of my my thoughts on it.
Cool.
Which is that I think probably first of all what you want to do to create a convincing sense of the space is you want to plot this out using grids and perspective lines first, so you can find the vanishing points.
Yeah.
Because just drawing it by eye is going to mean that things don't necessarily make sense with one another. So for example, the perspective on the table in yours looks like we're looking down on it more.
Yeah.
Which would then change the angle of the tables in the back too, because everything is dependent on the perspective lines. So if you have one thing changed in perspective, then everything else has to change in perspective to line up with that, which means the background horizon line would be higher, you'd be able to see more of the tops of the tables. So if you want to replicate the original composition, I'd say first of all plot out what the original composition's perspective vanishing points are, so that you can make sure that when you do yours, you've got the table at the right angle and everything.
I just want to confirm that they have the same height in theirs.
Same height?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, their frame is just slightly taller. It's not by much, but it's just interesting. They just have a slightly taller frame.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, so
That'll
you
throw
want
you off.
to make sure that the aspect ratio
Matches.
is the same. Otherwise, you're already making it harder for yourself, basically, to replicate the composition.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd say right now the background doesn't really make sense in terms of the vanishing points and the plane it's sitting on. Like we have these tilted windows, and then you've tilted the tables the other way, which makes it feel like that back wall is coming towards the camera because it's getting larger as it comes to the left side of the composition.
I'm trying to follow what you're saying. You're saying
Okay,
this is larger than this?
So if you were to draw a line across the top of the tables in the background.
Like that?
No, I'm talking about their composition.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a lot more...
And then you drew a line across the bottom of the windows in the composition.
Yep.
Then that makes it feel like the back wall is coming towards the camera on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Because everything's getting larger on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the background, that's much, much less pronounced.
Yeah, you've got a more kind of... this going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, we follow a slat. Sort of thing. There's way less tapering.
Yeah, it's much less extreme. I just like this song. Yeah, so in terms of the perspective on top of the table as well, like I was saying about how yours is much flatter. Sorry, yours is much less flat. You would probably want to flatten that out a bit, or it's going to affect the background perspective a lot.
Yeah, like at the moment we're sort of eye level with Yoda.
Yeah.
So think of everything above Yoda.
I think we're actually a little bit lower.
Maybe just, yeah.
We're kind of like the top of his shoulder.
Yeah. Everything above that sort of that line you're looking up at, everything else you're looking down at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the thing of the table.
Bert says that's not Yoda. All right. I don't want to use the actual name because I don't want to spoil that for people.
Baba Yoda then.
Baba Yoda. Baba Yaga. Yeah, how I solve everything grid. It's true. It's something that's recently been added to my tool belt, and now I try to use it for everything, both for practice for myself and because it's so useful.
The gaze of the Mandalorian is pretty central and sort of the thing that all the composition is leading to.
Yeah, it's also a common thing to have your main character's eye line on the top third, so it's cool to see that. But yeah, in terms of the perspective that I was talking about on the top of the table, you can see how that perspective is replicated with the cup, and you can see that because the background tables are above that horizon line that we have, that's why you can't see the top of the tables very well.
Yeah.
You know, which is why if you had the horizon line where you have it in yours, you would be able to see the top of those background tables, because they would all be under the horizon line.
In terms of values, your foreground element needs to be a lot darker.
Well, and one of the things I was going to say is I know that you said that you ignored the values, but I would say if you're doing a composition like this, where you're doing a composition study, the values are more important to you than the hue. So
Yes.
I'd say it's more important to have like just a black and white image where you darken the foreground elements and really pick out the compositions than it is to have an image where you're like, well, this shirt is green.
A color in storyboards is often used as an identifying element between shots. So like say you have a fast action scene, you might color certain characters certain colors in block colors to be like, for instance, this Ninja Turtle is Leonardo and they are blue. And you can see that actually like getting close to like final look in the boards, you won't have that in your storyboarding stage. There we go. I'm trying to get that. So let's just look at the values.
So a lot's been done with the light from the windows, as you can see, in terms of picking out the characters.
Yeah, this here.
Also, this may just be a study, but never underestimate the power of blurs. So whenever things are filmed with real cameras in real life and not, in animation, cameras can pretty much only focus on one plane, midground, foreground, or background, and everything else is going to be blurred. And that can really, really help to pick out your characters, especially when you have like a very dark scene like this, where the only other thing to pick out your characters is the composition and the light. Having that the background in soft focus is going to make it feel so much more convincingly in the background.
Yeah, even the foreground element is blurred because it's not on this plane.
Yeah. Having the background elements not blurred make them feel much closer, because in order for them to be in focus, they would have to be super close to the camera. Pretty much the same plane as the Mandalorian's on. So blurring the background and then separately blurring the foreground is going to bring focus to your main character and also create a more convincing sense of depth than you currently have.
This is your light, by the way. Which is catching here.
How could a helmet be hot as in sexy? I think it's like the implication, right? Which is that it's a mysterious person and you can't see their face and the helmet looks cool. I think that's the sexiness factor, is just like the mystery.
There we go.
Yeah, it's probably like horrible to be in that helmet all day. You're like living in a place where your breath goes like 2 centimeters in front of you and then steams up the inside of your helmet and bounces back at you. Have a very sweaty nose and underside of nose.
Yeah, in terms of values, they've grouped Baby Yoda quite closely with this element, so he's not too distracting, but they pick him out with the highlight.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of values, he's grouped.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that that is really helpful when you're actually using the values from the initial shot, is you can see how people are grouping compositional elements together, because it's not just about this character's here, this character's there, the wall is here. It's about the person who's making the composition going, okay, what big bulk shape am I going to create to frame the Mandalorian?
Yep, which you have.
And then the character positions kind of are born out of that. As it is, it's kind of like you have a V or a cup surrounding him.
Yep.
Be careful about simplifying that left wall too much as well. Like, you want to take care with the shape of your background element.
Yes, you have. That. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, like note how even the plank on the window in the background goes along with that. It stops you from being led off the side of the composition by the window, because there's a blocker in the way. You see it, Mike?
What's that?
The plank on the window.
This?
Yeah. It blocks you from going off to the side of the composition.
Mm-hmm.
Because on one side we're sandwiched by the silhouette of this person, and on the left we're blocked by this plank from going any further along the composition.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, all of the horizontal planks across the windows are pointing inwards towards the Mandalorian.
That's really cool. So yeah, in terms of composition, your perspective is really important and your value grouping is really important. I think we're missing that a little here because you're picking out Yoda as being its own element, but he should kind of be more grouped in here.
But Yoda's actually not a very important element of the shot here.
No. This is what we're...
He is in terms of like continuity of the boards and the audience knowing where he is.
Yeah, which is why he's got this little rim light on him, just to separate him from all of this behind him.
Yeah, I just say in the future, if you want to do a study looking at composition first, I'd say those are important elements to keep in mind as you're doing it. Like, really plan out that background and be aware of the space.
Yeah. Alrighty, next up we have movers.
Thank you for participating.
Ooh, kill a kill. So, Mover said, too much and too little. I don't think any of these individually stand out as special, but I was interested to see how they worked with other shots. It was interesting to see how colour was used to contrast characters and environments, as well as foreshadowing future plot points, or simply as an extension of composition as a way to lead the eye through a scene. It was a bit overwhelming. I feel like I learned more picking the shots I wanted to copy, and the time spent painting was for reflection. The biggest struggle? Reworking colours that don't quite match right while fighting the temptation to just colour pick the image 3 inches away.
Yeah, fair. Totally fair. These are super cool.
Yeah.
It makes me appreciate how much Kill la Kill does with light in order to direct you to what it wants you to look at.
I think you should watch more of this show, Swifty.
I did.
You did watch more of
I
it?
started watching more of it, yeah.
When?
In the bath.
In the bath?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know. Cool. You liking it?
It's still not, I'm sorry, it's still not grabbing me. I don't know what it is. Everybody loves it so much. I love the animation. I love the compositions. What's
Mooper's Twitter handle? It is... it's probably just Moopers, but let me find it.
Moopers.
They didn't give it, so I don't know.
But Moopers is in chat.
Oh, ask them.
Moopers. Where do we find you?
Ha 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 ha, Twitter. It is a weird ass show, to be fair. Oh, they have one, but they don't post on it.
You should post these on it, Moopers.
Yeah,
like, I did some colour studies.
Where do you post your art then? These are great.
Great job replicating the colours. Like, when I look between them, again, like, I find it very hard to distinguish colour-wise between the two.
I really particularly like what you've done in this one with that like red light and the dark form. It's like this is a really strong shape compositionally, and I think you've got it. Like, everything's reading in terms of like the forms. Let's see. I think
actually maybe your lights aren't light enough in like the first one. I'm just looking at like the rolls underneath the fruit stand.
Yeah.
And the fruit itself, which feels like it should be darker, and the rolls feel like they should be lighter. And then the stairs on the far left feel like they should be lighter.
Yeah, I think interestingly you've had this extra floor here, which you filled with white, but you could probably just scale up everything here because we are a little bit more close cut. And that might have been throwing you off a little because you've got this sort of like darker tone here on the ground, but there's this element of like a cast shadow here, and then the lit side here, and like this floor plane that she's standing on is very lit, whereas there's the presentation of a shadow by this overhang that you're sort of missing a little bit. Like your like outside elements, your boxes and stuff are kind of blending together with your floor. You're getting a kind of slightly odd flat plane there.
It's very hard to tell though how much of that definition has been brought out by the line art.
No, I think if you removed the line art, you would still see like shadow and then light on the floor. We just do a zoom in.
Please do zoom.
Ah, cool, nice cast shadow on the figure. That's nice.
Purple face.
Yeah, Kill la Kill is just batshit crazy. Like, how far are you into it?
The main character started fighting all of the school faculty.
I mean, she does that in episode 1, doesn't she?
I don't know. She's just beating the girl who has the marching band.
Oh. Doesn't she go a bit crazy during that fight?
The girl with the marching band?
No. The main character.
I think so. She goes kind of crazy in every fight.
Okay.
I don't remember it super well.
I think in terms of color temperature on your fruit and stuff, yeah, you're matching really well. Like, some others might have picked out that to be like, it's a red apple, but I think you've got that sort of like slightly off purple tone really nicely. The lamp, really well done. Ah man, these are strong. Nah, these are strong. I don't have too much to say about these.
He was like, good job.
Yeah. I think an important element in this is the speed lines and the tapering of the light, and I think you're missing that a little bit perspective wise.
That's true, yeah.
But
in terms of the composition.
Yeah, aside from that,
you can literally see the grid.
Yeah. Really capturing that solid 3D space will help your studies a lot. I think that's one thing that's in each of them we're seeing is you're missing that just a little bit. Pachow.
And then you can see the lines from bottom to top.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a show that super sexualized fighting characters, right? Yeah, pretty much. It's a show where people's powers depend on the uniform they wear, and the uniforms are like kind of sentient beings almost. They're like power-ups. So think like a magical girl transformation sequence, but for everyone, and they like their clothes give them the powers to do stuff. But the outfits are all like ridiculous.
There's you see less of from above on this. You're giving yourself a little bit too much from above here. I think you've done that like on the box as well, whereas this is, even though it's obscured, I think that would be more flat like this. You've tapered these a little bit too much. So yeah, I think color wise everything's looking really great. They're super close, but I think you want to focus on your perspectives and really nail those down, and then you will be golden. Do you have anything more to say about this one, India?
I'm but a student with this. I'm learning from you as much as anyone else in this stream is.
No.
I don't have a huge amount to contribute. I think during that grid on the bottom, everyone's like, fucking India, talking about the grid again. I think it has really helped though, because look, you can see like even the weapon she's holding out behind herself with the super force perspective, even that goes along the grid lines. So
yeah,
having that in like really helps you to figure out how that shot composed.
Yeah. Where are we?
I'm sorry. It's all I know.
Yeah. Grid. Grid.
Thank you, Kurzak. I'm honored.
I noticed that you can see the lines here that they will have drawn. That's cool. I think you just want to compare and contrast the taperings. But I don't know if this one, like
you can see that's like a 2-point perspective there. Well, it's 3-point if you include the vertical.
Yeah, it would be.
But you can see the vanishing points going off to the side there and meeting in the middle.
I think maybe these two elements, maybe.
And then a vanishing point off the top. Yeah, you basically just follow the lines of the composition off screen.
Yeah.
Then you'll find the vanishing point. Do you have any grid tips? Yeah, I'd say that's a good one, is just find the lines in your composition and follow them off screen to find your vanishing point.
Yeah.
And look for like the most striking and important parts of the composition to do that on. Because you could spend ages mapping out every single thing in the scene, and everything's going to have a slightly different vanishing point because not everything is always like straight onto the horizon. But if you find the most important defining vanishing points, then it can help. Oh no, Robin says, I would love to see more and learn from others. The last time I tried to do colour scripts, I started to cry. No! Don't worry, you can do it.
I think most of the vanishing point in this one is like into the interior of the ship, whereas like the shot front is actually fairly flat on the horizontals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This one's a tricky one to find.
I'd probably try and map the wall that the shop is on, because you have that helpful line.
This one.
Along the wall, yeah. And then if you can find the bottom of the storefront, which I think you can just about see, starting at the bottom of the staircase.
It's subtle.
If you look at the bottom of the staircase, where that shadow starts.
This?
No, not that. Like, the staircase is in front. It ends kind of in front of where the back wall is. So you're looking for the back wall. Can you see it?
No.
Do you want me to come over?
Sure.
Have line tool.
Yeah.
Can you zoom out a little bit? But I would see it. It's going like this. Which sets a very subtle perspective. That would probably be more like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Indy's better at perspective than I am now. She's done so many.
I'm not. But that's just me. Like, I would see that very subtle perspective on the wall. I don't know if that's right, but
I don't know.
It gives you something to latch onto.
And that's everyone.
Well done, everybody. Well done, everybody. I think one of the things you could do, Robin, is maybe you could do some more colour studies just for yourself in your free time. And then there's no pressure attached to it and you can just have fun. You can just have fun and not worry about it too much.
The tears do weird line stuff and mess with your perspective. Be a pro and wipe them off first. Nice.
So, a little bit earlier in the stream, we were sent an image for feedback, and I think you'll be the best person to give feedback on the image. Do you want me to send it to you?
Let me have a look at it, yeah.
Okay, let me copy and paste it over to you.
I thought I was done.
You're almost done. So, who was this in the chat? I've completely blanked.
Okay, cool.
There we are, Capricara.
Oh, also, India, I found this for you.
What did you find? Oh my gosh! do you want to show it on screen?
No.
Oh, really?
I don't want to get copyright struck.
Come
or
on.
anything. No.
Okay, well, Mike and I were watching the Transformers movie yesterday, the 1986 one. And there's this great scene in it where this dude is being held up on this rail, about to be dropped into acid. And his son's on the ground beneath him. And he's in a mech suit with guns on the arms. And the dad's like, Daniel, save me, shoot the thing. And his son's like, I don't know how.
I don't have any guns.
I don't have any guns. And his dad's like, use the ones on the suit. And you see his son just try to activate them and activate the wrong thing. And then there's just this super zoom in on his dad's face, and his dad's just hurry! And the pure panic in this animated dude's voice is hilarious to me.
I saw a comment on the YouTube video I linked to just now, and someone's like, I bet you in today's culture, the dad would be like, I believe in you, son. But back in the 80s, it's just I'm gonna die!
And then his son manages to save him. And at the end of the scene, the son's just like, I did it! And there's this really awkward hold on this really strange expression on his face. It's fantastic. It's some Speed Racer stuff. If you guys have seen those out of context Speed Racer clips from the old cartoon.
Do you know what? I can link the video.
It's that feeling.
Rather than playing it on the stream, I can link it as that DVD, film on DVD. And it's fantastic.
Oh, so you guys want to know what the new Anna Morning challenge is?
Well, what are we doing first, India? Am I doing the feedback on this, or are you giving them the new challenge?
I'll give them the new challenge first, because this isn't related to the challenge, and then you can round off with the feedback.
Okay.
If that's okay?
Sure.
So this Anna Morning challenge, we're gonna challenge you. This week you have to choose either hands or feet, and I want you to do a short, no more than 5-second animation of a gesture using those. I want you to focus on trying to think about the forms. I don't want to see any hands flat to camera waving. I want you to actually rotate the forms, whether that's someone lifting a cigarette, or using a lighter, or picking up a glass of water, or clapping, but something where the hands have to actually rotate in space. Same for the feet, whether that's them walking past camera, not flat onto camera. I don't want to see any people getting one hand drawing and then tweening it. The whole point is that you have to actually rotate the objects. The best thing for you to do for this is probably to actually film some reference of your hands doing stuff or your feet doing stuff, so you can just take the key frames with all the nuance in them and then work with those keys. Just because when it comes to things like hands and feet, there are so much nuance in the positions of them, it can be hard to draw them straight from your head with that nuance in mind.
Cool.
So yeah, prove to me that you're not scared of hands or feet. Choose one of them and do a no more than 5-second rough animation. Doesn't need to be cleaned up, doesn't need colour.
So is it hands or feet, or is it hands and feet?
Hands or feet, you can choose one of the two. And the brave people will choose whichever they're worst at.
That's cool.
Whichever they're most scared by. You're scared of feet though? Well, Robin, I'm expecting feet from you then. You shouldn't have said that in the chat. Yeah, only you have a million hand shots. You're probably fine for hands, right? You might have to do feet then. Doodle says, I'm bad at bother. I think you mean both, but it's pretty funny.
Capricara, what are you particularly wanting feedback on?
Oh, I'm sorry. They said earlier. So they're more used to doing environments. And I think they said the character designs aren't theirs and the UI aren't theirs.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Capricara, for the subscription.
Thank you.
But they're having a hard time balancing the glowing elements and drawing attention to what you're meant to be looking at, I think.
Okay.
You're so scared you misspelled the fear.
And
Okay.
this is like a screenshot from a game, I'm guessing. Like a mock-up for a game.
Yeah, if you're a 3D animator, you can totally just use a hand model, but the nuance is going to be in the animation.
Yeah. Okay, so this was the one they first sent, and then they've sent this one as an update.
All it says about hands, it's always forever hard. Which is so true. So the reason I thought you'd probably be good with this, Mike, is because you've done a lot of game concept art.
Not a lot of mock-ups, actually. Yeah, so you want to draw your attention to here. Was it like the character posing as well that you wanted? Advice on?
I think it's more the environment and the effect, but you let us know.
I thought you said they were an environment artist and they weren't sure about the... Or is it someone's provided you with the character to
characters
paint
and the
over?
UI aren't theirs, is what they said.
Oh, okay.
You wanted to sell the distraction effect and make it look fun. So I'm assuming that the focus is meant to be on the zap coming from the character's hands and what it's connecting with.
Right, okay. Okay. So it's mostly like this area. Oh my gosh. That's not what I thought I had selected. It's mostly this area. How to make this fun.
Yeah, and how to have it like balanced with the rest of the composition. So for example, on the left side there you have another glow, which I
Yeah.
think is kind of stealing a bit of the...
Yeah, there's no real source to this, and you've also upped the intensity, so I don't think you want this competing.
I think one of the problems is that that there's a hierarchy to attention when people are looking at a piece.
Yeah.
There are certain things that people will look at because it will demand their attention more. And unfortunately, for you, with this challenging game mock-up, the thing at the very, very top of the hierarchy is a face.
Yeah, and your highest face is here.
If you have a face in your composition, no matter what, people are going to look at that rather than the other stuff in the composition. So because your main character is facing away from camera, and the two things on top of the vat are very small and you can't really see their faces, the thing that people's attention is going to keep pinging to is the enemy on the left, because you can see their face clearly. So the first thing I do to make sure that people are focusing where you want them to is probably either to turn that character's face away from the camera or to move them closer to, like, move them to where you want people to be looking. Robin, I can't believe you feel the same as me. Hands are one of the most sexy parts of the human body, and then there are feet. Couldn't agree with you more.
So depending on how dark your game is going to be, I think you could probably for this mock-up just sort of cheat a little bit and like push a lot of this detail back with a vignette, so like your focus can be like the highlight areas or like your character and what they're affecting. So you're like, okay, cool. And I also pushed like this character into that as well, so that like immediately you're like, what am I supposed to be focusing on? It's kind of this character's relationship with what they're doing. I think if they're affecting this and this is a light source and it's hitting this rock, you're kind of like getting a little bit of a opaque light thing here, so it's not reading quite as light just now. It's not reading like a bright yellow light source on the rocks. It just feels like it's a painted yellow part of those. So to get around that, you kind of got it here on your like pipe and stuff, but it's probably going to be a warm orange rather than the yellow, cold yellow of your black, because it's going to be interacting with the sort of dark grey brown of the rock stuff. So it's probably going to be more like or even better, just if your rock is like this. Blending modes are your friends. Just orange over the top.
Oh my gosh. Carol. Feet, we see you there.
You could just have an add layer for your light.
The feet are watching. Oh my gosh. Kezek just said to us, if we're watching the screen in mod view, check out the users in chat and scroll down to F. I just had a look and there's a user watching us, hello there, called Feet. And everyone's just been talking about how much Feet freak is out. We weren't talking about you, Feet. We're sorry. Bert says I have comically tiny baby hands. I have hands like spiders. I like them.
I'm a big fan of like glows, so I would probably recommend like adding a shit ton of glow to this here to be like it's doing stuff. You want their effect to be affecting the environment a bit more.
Oh, nice, Mike. You could have that lighting affecting the character more too. Like, you could put a very strong highlight on the hand. Speaking of hands... I think this is a lot of work with the values here. I think that one of the problems before was all the values felt very even on the original image.
Yeah.
So everything was very flat feeling in terms of where your attention was meant to be. I do think it's starting to feel a little bit muddy. It might be worth just lightening the underlying composition a bit, so that it doesn't feel quite as dark. Because dark environments in games always just make me feel kind of, they feel kind of oppressive and claustrophobic to me. Ben says, I got big man hands! I see. Yeah, my spider hands often end up, like, saving New York. It's just what they do.
Like, one thing you could do is have a contrasting color. I don't actually like what I've done there. Having a contrasting color between what you're doing and like the rest of the environment. So like you could have it being a kind of gloomy light source here, but cooler elsewhere. Rather than black, you have a little bit of atmospheric fog behind it here. This is rough and ready, I'm not gonna lie, but...
It goes like, that sounds very graceful. Sound of that. Slender fingers!
And then you can come out. Like as I was saying before about the background, midground, foreground planes, you want your foreground elements to have the most contrast on them. Stuff that's slightly further back have less contrast, and the stuff that's way further back less contrast. It can be like, you're supposed to be looking here. I don't know if your enemies and stuff are supposed to be like that bright yellow for game signaling and stuff. So that might be like completely pushing that. Oh shit, not that one.
I do think you want to push that character to the back though, because you're fighting against the fact that people are going to want to look at the thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I would maybe just remove him. Like, I don't know if he's doing anything. Like, he used to be here, which I think might have been better, because at least he'd be in the thing. Just have him react, looking up at the explosion or something. And have, like, this cast light on him.
Or lose him.
Or just lose him completely, yeah.
And maybe have him in a different game mock-up, like a different screen of it. I think what you've done has already brought out a lot of it though. Would you mind lightening the underlying composition a little bit, or have you done that?
I did that a little bit.
Okay, cool.
I can pull this out some more.
No, it wasn't about pulling out your vignette. It was about lightening the underlying image.
Oh, sure.
Because I like what you've done to focus the attention. I just think everything's very dark on the underlying image. It might be nice to like lighten the mids and then push the dark. Yeah, that feels like a little bit more open to me. It feels a little bit less oppressive because everything isn't this kind of darkness.
I think I've pushed the contrast way higher up. Yeah, because there's a lot of mid-tone grey throughout, so just like...
Yeah, like if you were to put the black and white filter over just the initial image. Then, like, it's very hard to see what you're meant to be focusing on.
Yeah.
Everything kind of blends together.
Yeah, as you were saying, you need a hierarchy of dominance. Which thing do we want to be looking at? Like, the contrast of this character against the background is very similar to the contrast of this character against the background. It's very similar to the contrast of this to the background.
Yeah, if you want people to be looking at the effects need to be significantly brighter than the rest of the stuff. But as it is, the effects are kind of the same lightness as the hair, which is the same lightness as the backpack, which is the same lightness as like this dude in the background.
So here we just push the darks darker, the lights lighter, and then this vignette softens out the areas that are too punched, and then this color sort of, I don't know if this works anymore, but what I've added here is a more color. Soften that a little bit more. Oh, I punch up the highlight here in this one. Cool.
Yeah, I'd almost put like some pure white bits in that explosion, you know? So that in terms of the hierarchy, you're expanding the amount of lights and darks you use, but you're saving the lightest lights for only the point you want people to be looking at.
Like this.
Yeah. I mean, this drawing's also already good. We're just trying to help bring focus to the bit you want focus to be on. Bless you, Buffy. Buffy's sneezing.
You could make these guys dark.
Yeah, dark and light would be nice, since they're going to be backlit.
Maybe not make them black, but
I quite like it. They're just like. "Burp, burp, burp, burp."
hard light them. Again, they add contrast to where you want to be looking.
Mm-hmm. So now the highest point of contrast in the image is the place that you want the players to look. So now it's really hard not to look at the explosion, because we've pushed that dude so far into the background now that the hierarchy has switched. So that we want to look at the point of highest contrast.
This is going to break stuff. But if you're ever working in Clip Studio and you're like, I want to group all of these that I've just done, and then it does this, instead of normal for your group, just say through, and then it returns it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's helpful. Does it do the same thing in Photoshop? Because I have that problem sometimes in Photoshop.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is what we did. From boom to boom to boom to boom to boom to boom.
Yeah. You could probably clarify it, make it more obvious, like what's happening.
Yeah.
Like we've lost some of the clarity in some things in here, but if you kind of take the gist of what we were trying to do.
I made it glow. That's kind of nice.
You added the glow, Mike.
Yeah. Give me lightning explosions. You could probably like lighten up with a little bit more. I think I made the glove a little bit too much. Whichever layer that was. Just link that warm red to the explosion. That'll be $5.
Hey, Pocket Bear Illustrator, welcome.
Just kidding.
You've caught us just as we're about to finish up the stream. I'm sorry to say, but thank you for popping in.
Yeah, we were just giving feedback to Capysara.
We're good though. We're good. We're just hanging out, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool. How are you doing?
What do you guys think of... Oh, it's not there.
What is it?
I was going to show them the icon that I did.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Hang on. Here it is.
The funny thing is that you probably won't be able to even tell when it's as tiny as it will be.
That's not true. You can see the evolution of them. Look. This is proposed new icon.
I look really worried.
I look really worried as well. I kind of like that though. Because it's kind of like, it's Doig and Swift.
I see.
Do you not like that? Would you rather be like more cheery?
I mean,
cheerful?
It's up to you, dude. You're the one making the icon.
What would you do to it?
I would make me happy, but
You're happy.
I mean,
You look what?
nothing.
No, you look what? Is it this part? What can I do better? It's a little
Yeah,
eyebrow
I think it is
wrinkle.
the wrinkle in the middle of the forehead, and it's the wrinkle underneath the eyebrows.
This? Oh, underneath the eyebrow. Oh, this?
Yep. And then it's the fact that the corners of the mouth are pointing down.
That's because your head is slightly tilted up.
Yeah, but you need a little bow curve in there to make it look like I'm actually happy.
Like that.
Almost.
Wait, bow curve? Like that?
Kind of. More like it starts concave and then goes convex. Like an S curve on each side.
Right.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
You see? And then the bottom would join onto that. Careful not to make it too close to the eye or it'll get lost in that shape. Is the evolution of the icons actually an animation and we get to see a change in the expression? Now we're not that competent. You'll just see all the features like enlarging and shrinking and going all over the place.
Here's the two. Bonk.
It's an indie retake stream now. I know, right? I'm not going to do you any draw overs. It's cool. It's fine the way it is.
Well, I like you smiling more.
You need to join the bottom of the mouth to that just to solidify the beak shape there. Power says it reads better. There you are, Mike. You done did it.
Wait. Does this have any of your... No, I'm good. Okay. See, I wanted feedback too. Like that?
Then a cigarette in the mouth, says Ben. Be sure to join the interior as well, so it's not just because all of the outside of the mouth is so dark with that shadow that it's really kind of hard to tell. Like, you might need to lighten underneath the mouth a little bit so that the mouth reads better.
Like that?
Yeah, it's all about that read. I'm all about the read, you see, and Mike's all about the painting, so sometimes we run into problems like this where Mike wants it to be a shadow because there would be a shadow, and I want to lose a shadow because readability would be better without it.
It's because you have... Okay. I mean, I'm liking it.
Yeah, you could give me a bottom eyelid. Make it seem like my cheeks are pushing up my eyes. Yeah, Doig does look kind of traumatized.
I kind of like that though.
The outline around your schnozzle looks very thick.
Yeah, it's for readability.
Okay, sure. I'm happy now.
We'll see.
What do you mean we'll see?
I can't, well, whether we keep it or not. Because I've kind of made you be like, yeah. But I don't know if it's genuine happy yet.
It definitely looks happier than you had it.
Well, the feeling I was going for was kind of like, and deliberately. But if you want smiley go happy, that's fine. I don't want to be more happy. I just want to be like the feeling I want to give is like, I'm not sure if I want to be here.
But it says this is the correct energy. Troubled Dog and Happy Swift.
Yeah.
Power says, but the cheek colour is different. I know, but I'm not going to call him out. We'll be here all day.
What cheek color? How is it different?
Well, you see how you've pushed my eye up?
Oh.
But then you've made one of the cheek colours the same colour as a cheek, and one of the cheek colours just a shadow colour.
There you go. Yeah. I like it.
All right, we should raid somebody. Barbara, my OCD rests. Hope we have satisfied you.
Bye.
Go Pirate is streaming.
Okay, let's go
I
pirate.
like to give them a raid. See what Thor is up to.
Go pirate. Science and technology. Cool. Let's do it.
Barbara, you're welcome to backseat art. Don't need to worry.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow. Good luck with the Animorning Challenge. I think that's everything. It's your first raid. What do you do? Oh, raid call and everything. It's adventure.
Yeah, shout adventure.
With the dogs with Quaw. Yeah, Pablo's got it. Alright, everyone, take care. I may the rest
Of your day
be filled
with
adventure.
adventure.
Take care, everyone.